Why some countries are getting poorer. From Africa to Asia and parts of the Middle East, poverty is not just persisting, it's rising. In today's video, we take a closer look at countries getting poorer and the many reasons behind their economic decline. From political instability to climate change, these are the harsh realities behind the numbers. Number 1. Nigeria. Nigeria has a GDP per capita of $2,184. And the nation's poverty rate is 40%, with over 80 million people who are struggling to survive daily. What are the key drivers of poverty in Nigeria? Insecurity. Boko Haram and banditry have been a significant challenge for the country for many years. We also have the fuel subsidy removal, which led to a skyrocketing of prices of goods and services. The currency devaluation, which is mainly caused by the country's recent naira float. Nigeria also suffers from a high rate of inflation and unemployment. The country's rapid population growth is another challenge. The citizens of the country keep increasing, even in the face of infrastructure failure, unstable power supply and bad road network. Nigeria has suffered a great deal of environmental degradation. Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, is facing worsening poverty. Unfortunately, the country's currency reform has weakened the naira, making life even more difficult. In Nigeria, millions of people are falling further behind. Number 2. Somalia. Somalia has a GDP per capita of $1,900 and a poverty rate of over 70%. The key drivers of poverty in Somalia include terrorism, climate change, which often leads to droughts and floods, piracy and poor maritime security, political instability and weak governance. Somalia continues to be gripped by poverty, fueled by climate disasters and insurgency. The terror group, Al-Shabaab, controls swathes of land. Meanwhile, the recurring droughts and floods destroy crops and livestock, cutting off food supplies. Somalia's weak institutions have failed to provide security or opportunity, leaving many trapped in hunger. Number 3. Sudan. Sudan has a GDP per capita of $1,009. The key drivers of poverty in Sudan include years of internal conflict, the Darfur genocide legacy, the 2023-2024 civil war, currency collapse and loss of oil-rich South Sudan. Sudan has, unfortunately, been plagued by war for decades. The ongoing conflict between the army and paramilitary forces has wrecked cities, displaced millions, and halted economic activities. Sudan, which was once reliant on oil revenue, lost 75% of its oil wealth when South Sudan seceded in 2011. Now, it's battling hyperinflation and humanitarian disaster. Number 4. Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso has a GDP per capita of $964. The key drivers of poverty in the country include repeated military coups, Islamist insurgency, climate shocks which often result in desertification and displacement of rural populations. Burkina Faso faces overlapping crises. Terrorist attacks in the country's rural areas have forced over 2 million people out of their homes. Military coups have disrupted democracy and aid. And as the Sahara creeps southward, farmland turns to dust, pushing rural families deeper into poverty. Number 5. Democratic Republic of Congo. The Democratic Republic of Congo has a GDP per capita of $449, with a poverty rate of 75%. Many citizens of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, unfortunately, live on less than $2 a day. The key drivers of poverty in the country include armed conflict over mineral resources, displacement, institutional corruption, lack of education and healthcare access, disease outbreaks and water and food insecurity. Despite having massive mineral wealth, the Democratic Republic of the Congo remains one of the poorest places on Earth, with about 75% of its population surviving on less than $2 a day. Number 6. South Sudan. South Sudan has a GDP per capita of $448, with a poverty rate of over 76%. The key drivers of poverty in the country include civil war, ethnic violence, oil dependence and refugee crisis and fragile institutions. In South Sudan, poverty is driven by years of civil war and ethnic violence. Though the country is rich in oil, mismanagement and instability have left its people without basic services. Refugees, famine, and failing government systems create a loop of poverty with no end in sight. Number 7. Afghanistan. Afghanistan has a GDP per capita of $434, with a poverty rate estimated to over 90%. The key drivers of poverty in Afghanistan include Taliban rule, economic collapse after US withdrawal, sanctions, restriction on women's rights, and the collapse of education and foreign aid. Afghanistan's economy imploded after the Taliban regained control in 2021. Foreign aid, which made up 75% of public spending, was cut off overnight. With sanctions, banking restrictions, and the exclusion of women from work and education, the Afghan economy is now in freefall. Today, over 90% of the population lives in poverty. Now, let's consider broader trends and global warning on poverty. Records have it that 39 conflict-affected countries make up 60% of extremely poor countries of the world. GDP per capita is declining by 1.8% per year in fragile states. And unfortunately, Sub-Saharan Africa accounts for 67% of global extreme poverty. Numbers don't lie. Today, most of the world's impoverished people live in countries affected by conflict, weak governance, and climate stress. Poverty is no longer just about money, it's about war, water, women's rights, and wasted potential. On a closing note, poverty isn't just a statistic, it is children missing meals, women losing futures, and families fleeing war. But these stories don't have to end this way. Please share this video to raise awareness, and follow this channel for more in-depth insights on the world we live in.